Welcome in. It's Big Ten Today. It is great to have you with us on this Friday as we head toward the weekend. Dave Refs and Trent Meacham. We had just one game last night in the Big Ten. I didn't see it going quite that way. I have to be honest. I know Illinois had a lot of medical issues in the team with an illness running through the team, but still, it was something else, Maryland.
It was an impressive win for them, and it just shows every night is different. Every game is unique in and of its own. The different matchups, who's healthy, who's not, who's on their game, who maybe isn't, who comes to play. And last night was a perfect example of that.
Well, the Terps did come to play
a
huge way. That is our big story. And again, this one all Maryland. Illinois was without starting center Tomislav Ivičić out with an illness, and Maryland made them pay, pounding it inside to the tune of 62 points in the paint. That is far and away the most for any Big Ten team in a conference game this year. Derek Queen, Julian Reese, 52 points between them as Kevin Willard's Terps picked up their first road win this season, 91-70. The coach afterward with Bill Raftery.
I just kept telling them, like, hey, guys, we've been close. We've been knocking on the door. You know, every road game we've been up. We've had chances, and so, you know, part of it is just keeping them positive and keeping them understand that, hey, it's a tough play. This is a tough league to win on the road. Just keep knocking on the door, and we were gonna break it down.
Watching the two bigs together tonight. Now, you see them all the time. I felt it's the best I've seen them play together. Would you concur?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Brad had to go small, and, you know, you just can't go small against us. And we just said, you know, just keep throwing it inside, keep knocking it on inside. And I thought Julian and Derek were really aggressive and understood they had smaller guys on them. And we're just aggressive.
Tommy missed today. KJ's played 54% of the minutes in league play going into tonight. And we've just got to find a way to get whole again. And so guys can settle back into their roles. You know, are we going to win when our backcourt turns it over 12 times? We're not. But we need Tommy. Tommy helps that. He's a great piece to that.
Again, it is fair to point out, like, Ivičić is he's literally and figuratively a huge part of what Illinois does. So I don't think, like, when I found out that he was out for the game, and then they had a couple of players who were questionable who ended up playing with this illness that's running through the team, you thought, well, given the matchup with Maryland, that could be a problem. I guess I didn't envision this kind of a margin. I was surprised by that. Were you surprised by it?
I was surprised it was this much of a problem. I mean, Illinois had no answer for Maryland. And look, Ivičić is defensively, his positioning is fantastic. He's a rim protector. He uses that 7-1 frame as well as anybody his size in terms of understanding where to be at on the floor. And then offensively, he's kind of a hub for them. He's a pressure release. He can make plays for them as a passer. He can finish in the low post. He obviously extends the defense because he can stretch out to the three. So I knew it was going to be a problem, but you have to give Maryland a ton of credit. Sometimes just because you have an advantage and coach has a game plan for attacking that advantage, the players don't execute it.
Right.
And Maryland, the entire game, they saw where they had that advantage. They went inside, 62 points, 52 for both Reese and Queen. I thought maybe Illinois could try to speed them up or apply some more pressure or double in the post. They went zone in the second half. They tried some things, but they had no answer. And I would just give a lot of credit for Maryland, a team that shoots the ball pretty well. Didn't make any threes, or right. 3 for 12 from threes.
They made 3.
And to still win by 20 because they saw where they had opportunities and they did not let up. They just kept going there. So, and it shows this Maryland team is very, very talented.
No doubt. They had not won a road game this year. They had been really close in several of them. And you heard Kevin Willard saying, hey, just keep knocking on the door. Eventually we're going to knock it down. I mean, that Twin Tower matchup is tough for anyone. Derek Queen is so skilled. He had a couple passes last night that just make your head spin. I mean, for all of the other things that he does well. And, man, Jacoby Gillespie has been an unbelievable addition to them. Their backcourt, I think, is significantly better.
Yeah, first on the bigs, I would just finally, the Reese and Queen, they complement each other very well. Reese is experienced, great hands, great finisher, understands angles around the basket, tremendous rebounder. And then Queen, I'm not sure when I've seen a guy like him at the college level. I mean, just incredible feel, his ball handling ability, his ability to see the floor, his footwork around the basket. He's such a fun player to watch. So those two guys really complement one another well. And in the backcourt, you know, in a game that Illinois had to dominate those matchups, Yakachonis, Boswell, Jacoby Gillespie was the best player on the court. And he's been playing so well lately, averaging 18 and 6 almost over the last 6 games. So this has been consistent. He had a 1-point game, I think, was that at Washington in a loss. And he's been playing so well. He's got elite speed, and now he's learning to control when to go and get into the paint and make plays and when to get others involved. He's doing a fantastic job.
They really made things difficult on Illinois' backcourt. I mean, Yakachonis had 7 turnovers. He's been so good this year. I mean, I think as impressive a freshman as we have in a league that is chock full of impressive freshmen. We were just talking about one of them in Derek Queen. I mean, freshman of the year is going to be quite a contest in the Big Ten this year. But, man, it just seemed like Yakachonis, I mean, he'd get past guys and they knock it away from behind. He threw a few passes that went into the second row. It just felt like, for whatever reason, he was off his game. And my sense was, man, he'd be ready to go after the Michigan State game where he fouls out in 8.5 minutes. But the backcourt really, as you said, just didn't have answers, Yakachonis or Boswell.
Yeah, those two, they combined for 12 turnovers. That's too many. They had 16 as a team. And Maryland had 10 steals. So these are live ball turnovers. Give Maryland's defense, their quick hands, how they rotated a ton of credit. I thought even initially Illinois moved the ball really well. Thought they were getting some good things offensively, but Maryland's rotations were on point. They were sharp. They were aggressive with their hands. Gillespie, I talk about him offensively, but defensively, he had 3 steals. He was a pest on defense, and if you're undersized guard, that's what you got to do. And Maryland just, they did not allow anything easy for Illinois. This was a game where Illinois' guards, like I said, had to dominate, and they couldn't get to where they wanted to go. Conversely, Maryland got wherever they wanted to go on the floor and got great looks because of that.
Team that loves to run. Illinois, they had 3 fast break points. A team that shoots a ton of threes and generally shoots them at a high level. They made 6 threes. They were 6 of 28. So just kind of nothing went according to plan for the Illini. So now let's spin it ahead for both. Let's start with Maryland. They go to Indiana now, and the Hoosiers are reeling. I think this is an enormous game for IU, but man, if Maryland can steal 2 on the road in a road swing, like you look at the beginning of the year, you think about where Indiana was picked in the league, think about where Illinois was picked. To get one of them, you're delighted, but it's eminently reasonable they could get 2.
It'd be massive. This is a great opportunity for them. And Indiana's got a couple things right now. But first, I would say for them is, what kind of spirit do they come out with? What kind of competitive spirit? Their last time at the Assembly Hall, they lost by 25 to Illinois. So where's their mindset at? What's the level of urgency and intensity that they're playing with? That's A1. 2, Dave, they might have an issue that Illinois had. Malik Renew's been out. Who's their 4-man? Maryland's got those 2 bigs. You know, Ballo's going to have his hands full with Reese. Who's guarding Derek Queen? Luke Goody's played the 4 some. You could put in Baco's got a little bit more size and physicality, but that's going to be a real issue for Indiana.
Right. They brought Renew back in the game against Northwestern. He was physically there. I mean,
Yep.
He's on the court. But, man, I mean, he was just a shadow of what he's been. He was 0 of 6 from the field. His conditioning seemed off. I mean, they just didn't get anything that you would want to get out of him. Now, maybe with a game under his belt and feeling a little bit more confident in that knee, maybe he plays a little bit better. But no doubt, I mean, it's a challenging matchup for Indiana. And it could get late early here for the Hoosiers, Trent. I mean, their next 7 games are all against teams that I would look at and say are surefire NCAA tourney games. They had a very manageable schedule at the outset in conference play. It gets really difficult here from here on in. They're going to need to be at their best.
You look at that one of 2 ways. You think, oh, no, man, these games are coming fast. Every team is good. Or you look at it as every game is a great opportunity for us to step our game up, for us to get some quality wins.
Quad 1 wins.
And they got to get it done, especially being at home, now playing a really hot Maryland team. That starting 5 for Maryland is as good as anybody's starting 5.
So that's the story with the Terps going forward. As for Illinois, they will take on Northwestern on Sunday. And remember, the Cats beat them in Evanston in December. They held them to a season-low 56 points in regulation, rallied from 10 down in the second half to force overtime, then dominated the extra session. Nick Martinelli led the way with 27 for the Wildcats. It was Illinois' 3rd straight loss in Evanston. It's fair to point out the Cats haven't won in Champaign in 12 years, so maybe home court will be part of the solution here for the Illini. But how do they get back on track against a team that beat them earlier this year?
Well, first we'll see how whole are they. Is Ivisic back in the lineup? Are these other guys healthy? Hopefully nobody else gets sick. That's a big question mark for them. But hey, you play at Northwestern, you got to be ready. I know Shane's coming in here to talk wrestling. Northwestern is going to make it such a physical game, and they shrink the court. Illinois wants to play wild and free and space the floor. They have to play their brand of basketball. They can't get into a wrestling match with Northwestern, or they're going to lose that. Offensively, they have to play with some space and some flow. Now, defensively, they had no answer for Nick Martinelli last game. He had 27 points. At overtime, he just basically went one-on-one. It was in the low post. It was shooting threes. It was isoing from that elbow high post area. They got to have somebody step up and be able to defend him. They had issues with Brooks Barnheiser. Jalen Leach, when you think of personnel, he loves that mid-range game. Illinois plays drop coverage on ball screen, so that's where he really likes to get to and rise up and make shots. So I think this game is going to be really interesting because you have just two very different teams. And assuming, hopefully, Illinois is whole, you still have contrasting styles going against each other. And I think it's going to be a fantastic game, Dave. I really do.
Northwestern did a really nice job on them defensively in that first game. Illinois only had 2 fast break points, so not dissimilar from what we saw against Maryland. Then Northwestern was +7 in the turnovers, only turned it over 4 times. That backcourt played well. We'll get more from Trent coming up. We'll preview some more games coming up this weekend.
It is a sellout tonight at Welsh Ryan Arena. The Hoosiers and the Wildcats. Leach has been hot, and he stays hot. And Barry now has 14. Ty Barry is in his zone. Blocked by Nicholson. NBA 3 for Ty Barry. Barnheiser, the exclamation mark. Northwestern, 79-70 over Indiana. They've defeated the Hoosiers in 5 straight meetings.
Northwestern rode a 54-point second half to a 9-point win over the Hoosiers Wednesday night thanks to 9 second-half three-pointers. That's as many threes as they had hit in any full game this year. Ty Barry, coming off the bench for the 3rd straight game, hit 7 of those threes, a career high, as the Cats beat IU, as you heard, for the 5th straight time, their longest win streak in the series in 110 years. And Ty Barry joins us now for our big interview. Ty, describe the emotion of playing as well as you did in a game like that, where you guys were desperate for a win.
I mean, it was an awesome feeling. Just to see the ball go in for the first time in a while just felt great. And then the confidence from my teammates just telling me to keep shooting every shot, it was awesome.
You had started 73 straight games. This was the 3rd straight game now that you've been coming off the bench. You had a stretch of 3 games where you only scored 5 points. Coach Collins decided to make that move, and you have scored in double figures in all 3 of those games. Before we talk about why you're playing better coming off the bench, tell me about that conversation. What was it like when Coach Collins came to you and said, this is how I'm going to change it up?
Yeah, I mean, me and Coach Collins have a great relationship, and honestly, just to be able to do whatever he wants me to do and what's best for the team. And he thought that would, change things up and me to see the game in a different light. And I think that really helped me. And so, yeah, just doing whatever it takes to help the team, I'm going to do it.
Why has it worked? You talk about seeing the game in a different light. What do you mean by that?
Kind of being able to sit back and watch kind of the first 4 minutes of the game, get the flow of the game. Kind of see where things are open and how I can come in and make a early impact by bringing energy and helping the guys.
Interesting. You are coming back. People may not be aware of this, but a pretty serious knee injury. You were having a great year last year. You were hurt about 2/3 of the way through the season. You were off for the rest of the year and obviously through much of the summer rehabbing. And Coach Collins has talked a lot about the injury he had when he was a player in college, and how difficult it is psychologically to come back from that and kind of trusting your body again. How much of that did you feel in this period here where maybe you've been a little bit up and down to start the year?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that coming back was going to be hard just because you get a little rusty. You haven't played basketball in 9 months. So it's hard, but you got to work your way back into it. And kind of once you get the flow, once you get the confidence, then, everything just starts to feel normal again. But it did take a little while, but I feel like now I'm feeling better than ever.
A coach has talked a lot through the years, and he mentioned it the other night too in his post-game news conference, about you being one of his favorite players he's ever coached. And he talked about particularly when things are going right for you, the emotion that you bring to the game, the joy that you bring to the game. You've been through a lot of ups and downs through your career, the injury being one. I know you lost your dad quite suddenly your freshman year, and the coaching staff was able to help you through that. Tell me about that connection that you have with Coach Collins.
You know, like me and Coach's son are roommates. And so, you know, just the relationship I have with the Collins family is one that, you know, I couldn't find anywhere else or couldn't ask for a better one. You know, I look at Coach Collins as like a father figure to me, just a great mentor and a great dude off the court to hang out with and be around. So I really look up to him and his leadership. And, you know, I know he's always going to have my best interests at heart.
I have to ask you about Brooks. We showed the beginning of the dunk. We didn't show the aftermath of it there where he fell on his face. It's crazy to watch him play, Ty. I feel like he's a mixture of a basketball player where he fills every slot on the stat sheet. I mean, every category. He's amazing. He's one of the most complete players in the country. But he's got a little football player in him. He's got a little hockey player in him. Give us a sense of what it's like to go against someone who is that intense every day.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, just to be with Brooks these last 4 years, I mean, he's the toughest kid that I've ever had on my team. And he just brings so much with his physicality, his strength, and his skill. He's very versatile and just his toughness. His toughness is something that we all rub off on. You know, he can play through anything, and he will play through anything.
A lot of people wrote this team off heading into this year. You guys were picked 16th in the Big Ten. You have leaders like yourself and Brooks and Matt Nicholson coming back. Did you guys feed off of that prediction in any way?
Yeah, of course. Of course. We just added that fuel to the fire. And, you know, we know that we're not ever going to, you know, get picked high in any of the polls, but that's okay. That's part of our formula. And we just play with a chip on our shoulder every day, come to practice, and just push each other to reach our goals.
I do find it interesting that in this time of transfers all over the place in college sports, the core of this team came back, and we saw it last year with Boo deciding to come back and play another year, and obviously with you and Brooks and Matt, you know, guys who would have opportunities to go kind of wherever you wanted to go. What is it about the culture? What's kept you at Northwestern when you've got your degree and, you know, you could go anywhere?
I would say just the family aspect of it all. I mean, us guys, we really treat each other like brothers. We all love each other. Just the camaraderie that our team has, we wouldn't be able to find that anywhere else. And just we want to make Northwestern known for winning, and we built that culture up, and it's only right for us to stay and keep building that culture.
Well, part of that winning was earlier this year against Illinois. You guys already knocked them off at Welsh Ryan. Northwestern has not beaten Illinois in Champaign in more than a decade. You get an opportunity on Sunday here on the Big Ten Network. Give me a sense of what it's going to take to win that one down at the State Farm Center.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take everybody. It's going to take all of us being locked in on the game plan and just coming out there and just playing as hard as we possibly can, and knowing that we are going to have each other's backs, and just staying connected through a whole 40 minutes.
Well, looking forward to it, Ty. I'm going to be on the call for that one, so we will see you down there on Sunday. Again, congratulations on a great performance against the Hoosiers, and thanks for your time.